Hey, greetings, everyone. Lieutenant Colonel Alan West here, and welcome to the Steadfast and Loyal podcast.
You gotta light 'em up before they burn it down. Better dig deep, put 'em in the ground. Blood on their hands, they're hellbound. Save us all. Ooh, they're gonna burn it down. Save us all before they burn it down.
You know, it's great to be back here having a conversation with you all, and we've got some great guests that'll be coming up. Kind of been on the road a lot, just recently down in Boca Raton, Florida, and West Palm Beach, and over in Naples, Florida, speaking on behalf of the American Constitutional Rights Union down in Naples, Florida, and recognizing the Collier County Sheriff, Sheriff Rambox there, for what he is doing and working with ICE by way of the 287G program. And one of the things I think is so important that we start to realize and understand, our constitutional law enforcement officers, that's what sheriffs are, they're supposed to be enforcing the law based upon the rule of law, based upon the Constitution. It's a little bit different sometimes with police chiefs because they're appointed normally by, city managers, sometimes by mayor, city councils, depending on what type of governance, municipal governance that you have. But when I think about Sheriff Rambosk and what he's doing there, and several other sheriffs, and which is one of the reasons why, as the executive director of the American Constitutional Rights Union, we started this Defender Initiative to recognize the sheriffs that are doing the right thing, but also to call out the ones that are not doing the right thing, like what we have here locally in Dallas. Here locally in Dallas, we have a police chief that stood up and says, "I'm not working with ICE." As far as I know, I don't think the sheriff for Dallas County is working with ICE either. I hadn't seen or heard anything from Sheriff Marion Brown. And it should be quite disturbing to you as citizens here in the United States of America that you have law enforcement officers that aren't enforcing the law, that they want to play politics with your safety and security. Just the same as we have these judges out there playing judicial activists from the bench instead of worrying about your safety and security, interpreting the law. It's very clear. I mean, unfortunately, we also in Dallas County have a person by the name of Jasmine Crockett who made the statement that coming to the country illegally is not a crime. I thought the pure definition of a crime is doing something illegal, as opposed to if you're doing something that is legal, you're law-abiding. But it is amazing to me how the progressive socialist left and all of these different aspects, even with the law enforcement aspect, even with the judicial aspect and the legislative aspect, they have completely turned things upside down. To the point where, college students are chaining themselves and handcuffing themselves to objects at, Columbia University, whatever. Because a person that is here as a guest of this country is out there initiating violence and, inciting violence in support of a terrorist organization. They killed Americans and took Americans hostage, but it's fine. Oh, he has freedom of speech. No, he doesn't. I'm talking about Mahmoud Khalil. And the other thing about this is, he's got a wife and a kid. When did having a wife and a kid ever stop police from arresting you if you did something wrong? And that's for citizens. So now all of a sudden, a person is supposed to come here, even as a guest, but speaking against the United States of America, the ones, the country that said, here, you come in here, you can further your education. And now all of a sudden, we're supposed to say, he has a right to stay. He don't have a right. You don't have a right when you align yourself with the enemy of the United States of America. You don't have a right when you align yourself with a terrorist organization. As a matter of fact, that's a felony offense. Providing material support and comfort, aiding and abetting. And so when I look at what we have to start doing here in America, it's very clear cut. It's almost like William Barrett Travis on the day before the Alamo fell, I think April the 5th of 1836, when he drew a line in the sand. This is a line in the sand moment. And now I understand folks on the left, they hate Donald Trump. But hating Donald Trump, hating the person, should not mean that you hate your country. Should not mean that you disavow the laws of your country. Does that mean that you say you don't believe in the sovereignty of your country? And that's why we started the Defender Initiative, to recognize those constitutional law enforcement officers, sheriffs, that are protecting the sovereignty of their country, that are protecting the safety and security of citizens, as opposed to those that aren't. Or even an attorney general like what you have up in the state of Washington, Nick Brown, who is going after a constitutional sheriff in Spokane, Washington, that county up there, because he's working with ICE. He's doing what he's supposed to do. You know, that whole supremacy clause thing, the federal government, supreme of the states, when they are doing that in pursuance thereof to the rule of law, to the Constitution, that's those three key words. So if the state says we're going to be a sanctuary state, they're not acting in coordination with the Constitution. And when the federal government is, as opposed to the Biden administration that wasn't, then you have to do the right thing. So the line in the sand that we have is very simple. I mean, even if you look at this whole thing going on about tariffs, you know, I'm not a big tariff guy, and nobody should be a big tariff guy. And that's what this whole thing is about. But it's the line in the sand that says you can't kick sand in the face of the American people anymore. You cannot continue to say to us, you know, we want access into your economic markets. We want to bring our goods and services into your market, but we don't want you bringing your stuff into ours. And so we're going to charge you this exorbitant amount to bring your products, your goods and services into our market. But let us just do what we want. Now, there's a lot of people out there that are, I don't know, they can't understand how simple that is, what the president's trying to do. He's trying to, in the long term, protect your economic safety and security. Because this country, I mean, not just the undermining of our national sovereignty, we've seen the undermining of our national economic sovereignty. When I was born in 1961, the debt of the United States of America was like $467 billion. What is it now? $36 trillion? What's the return on that investment? I mean, these trade deficits that we have cannot be debated. We have trade deficits. And so when countries are saying, we want free access into your markets, but you have to pay this to come into ours, the bottom line is, let's just all go to zero. I think you're starting to see some countries come to the table and saying, okay, let's rethink this thing. But we cannot continue to allow ourselves to have the sand kicked in our face. What side of the line do you want to stand on? Do you want to stand on the side of the line that says, I don't care about America's national sovereignty. I don't care about America's economic sovereignty? Or are you going to stand on the side of the line that says, I want a strong America? Here's my challenge to you. And you all know about this. In a few days, I'll be going to Lexington, Massachusetts. On April the 19th of 2025, I'll stand on that piece of ground where 250 years ago, Americans from that town decided which side of the line they'd stand on. so that we can be here today. See, the side of the line that we choose to stand on today will determine what America will be like, or even if there will be an America 50 years, 100, hopefully 250 years from now. What will they say about us then? Will they say that, well, they were just too much into immediate gratification? They were just into the soundbite. They were just into that fast food mentality. What have you done for me lately? They had no strategic vision. They had no strategic foresight. They did not protect their borders. They did not strengthen their economy. They outsourced all of their production and manufacturing. And there was once a place called the United States of America. And when you think about that path, it's the path that Rome took. Not saying that America's an empire, but we've got to protect our national sovereignty. We have to protect our economic sovereignty. Which side of the line are you going to take a stand on? You can go out there and get in the streets. You can protest. You can do all those things. You can think you're really cool, really smart, really hip, but you know what you really are? You're a dumbass for supporting terrorist organizations, for supporting the undermining of our border, for not understanding that we need to have an economically strong America. We need to have an America that is producing and manufacturing to include our energy resources. Because I'll be doggone if we don't. The Chinas, the Irans, the North Koreas, the Russias, the Islamic jihadists, the transnational narco-criminal terrorists, they're just not the enemy at the gate. They are the enemy inside the gate. Which side of the line will you make a stand? I stand on the side of the line that says steadfast and loyal.
Before they burn it down.